Welcome to our weekly program. This program is dedicated Le'ilui Nishmas Shmuel Menachem Mendel Ben Shneir Zalman Olav Hasholem Butman. Next week is his Shloshim. Rabbi Butman, his entire life, he was Isaac, he was involved with Ba'amuna, with strong faith, his kashrus to the Rebbe. He was the menahil of Tzira Goodness Chabad. He was the Yeshiv Rosh of Vadai Sima Rambam and more. So I want to say, since it's Shloshim next week, V'kitzu v'ranu n'sheich ne'ofor v'hu b'seicham b'koriv mamesh Shubi tchiz hamesim aneshoma beguf. Every Mitzvah Shabbos, he used to speak on COL a short Varteira and a short story of the Rebbe. And many times he asked people for stories of the Rebbe, for Mises. But his mile was, he always checked if the story is emes, if the story is true. And he always called, unless the story happened with that person, he always called, if you heard a Maisa, where did you hear it from? And he called them to check exactly the story. There is a saying, don't believe what you hear, believe half what you see. So not all the stories that you hear from the Rebbe is true. Just like the Baal Shem Tov. Not all the Mises that we hear from the Baal Shem is emes. But it could be true. So even the Rebbe, when the Rebbe said a Mise story, the Rebbe many times said you heard it from the Frierdiker Rebbe or from Chassidim, but B'chal, the Rebbe said it. The Rebbe said it's true, for sure. So the Rabbi Butman made sure that the Mise is emes. So once he asked me of a story, and I gave him a few stories, and I remember he called up. He asked me the telephone number. He called up to the people, and he found out exactly, the story, how it happened, the same. So his stories are bichlal 100%. So I want to share with you a story that I told him, and I think he said it online once. A few years ago, I was in Eretz Yisrael. I was by a simcha. I was in Tzfas. I was sitting near a yid, a choshev yid. This was on Shabbos. He was a Gerer Chassid. He said he was Alexander Chassid. He wore a shtreimel. He looked like a lamden. He looked like a Rosh Yeshiva or a Rov, a choshev yid. So he asked me, "Are you a Chabadnik?" So I said to him, "It's not easy to be a real Chabadnik, but I belong to Chabad." So he said to me, "I am surely not a Chabadnik. I grew up by the Pelusha. My family, I have no connection with Chabad until I got 2 letters from the Rebbe. And then I became the Rebbe's Chassid. I'm not a Chabadnik," he says, "but I became the Rebbe's Chassid." That's what he told me. And after Shabbos, he says, he'll go back to Yerushalayim. I'll be in Yerushalayim. He wants to bring over 2 letters from the Rebbe that he got from the Rebbe. So he gave me the letters, and I'm going to share one letter with you today. If I have time, I'll share another letter. But before I share the letter, I want to tell you what he told me. He is an Einikel, a grandson of the Oira Chaim HaKodesh. Now, by the way, some people say that Oira Chaim had no children, but it seems from the Rebbe that he had girls. He did have children. And I think the girls wrote a sefer, I'm not sure. The Oira Chaim's yahrzeit is Tesvav Tammuz. He's buried in Har HaZeisim in Yerushalayim. He lived, I think it was in the time of the Baal Shem Tov HaKodesh. So every Thursday, he tells me, he went to the Oira Chaim, to the caver, Thursday afternoon. One Thursday, he was standing by the caver. All of a sudden, he sees two Arabs with knives standing in back of him. Right away he started to say Vidui, started to say Shema, and standing for 15 minutes, he thought that's the end of him. After 15 minutes, he turns around and he sees that the Arabs are gone. They're not there. He came home and he told his mother, I think he was then a chosn, he just got married. He said, he told his mother what happened, that the two Arabs were standing by the Oira Chaim, and this is what happened. So his mother said to him, Als kibud avoim, I don't allow you to go to the caver anymore. I don't want you to go. The only way you can go is if you write to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, gives you Rishus, permission to go, then I'll be satisfied. Otherwise, you cannot go. And she was not a Lubavitcher. She just said only the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So he wrote to the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe the whole story, what happened. And I will share with you the letter that the Rebbe wrote to him. Two letters. One, I don't think we'll have time, maybe next week. But one letter, I tell you what the Rebbe answered him. So the Rebbe said to him like this. Here I have the letter. He gave me the letter in Yerushalayim. Avosik v'chosid. He said, this was the Shchedesh Kislev. Shalom Avrocha. Me'asher nikabaltu miksav uboy bakoshe b'rocha pidye nefesh miyoyim chofal b'cheshven ubeis rotzein yikor al tzion kveikdushas me'irvachom me'admur zechrein tzadik v'kodesh levrocha nishmose beginze meroimim schuse yogin aleinu. I received a letter with a bracha with a pidyon from that and that date, and the Neis Rotzain, I will read it by the Rebbe, by the Frierdiker Rebbe Tzein. L'kosvei eichis naig mikan ulahabo b'nigeya la'alois midei yoyim ha'chamishi al kivre shel Oira Chaim HaKodesh. You write that how should you firzach Yanhoge from now and on about going to the caver on Thursday and the caver Oira Chaim. So the Rebbe says here, Behiroas Rav B'Yerushalayim Tibone V'Sikoinen B'Meira V'Yomeinu. And the Rebbe signs B'Koisel or Rabbi Koisel. He should ask a Rav by the Koisel how he should be from now on, whether he should go, he shouldn't go, and whatever he says, he should do. So anyway, so he went into the Rav of the Koisel, and he asked him. He spoke to the director. He told him, number one, he should never go alone. He could go, and number two, he should always make sure to go in the morning, not in the afternoon, not in towards the evening. But he can go. So anyways, he showed the letter to his mother, and his mother was satisfied. He says, if the Rebbe says this, you have to listen to the Rebbe, and that's it. Now the Rebbe writes him further, Mehanochain asher yivdeku es hatfilin shaloi v'chein mezuzes bidiros hamezuzes bidirosom shetiyanu kulan k'sheiros kadin, underline kadin, be'im le'nivdeku b'meshach yud beish chodesh acharein. It would be good that you should be baitek yud tefillin and the mezuzahs in your house, that it should be kosher kedin, according to the din, if he did not, if he wasn't baitek for 12 months. This, he says, got him, he told me. Why? He was always wondering, the Rebbe is medayik in words. Why does the Rebbe say the word kedin in Yandali? Should be ksheris. Why kedin? He went to check the mezuzahs and the tefillin, and we're talking here about a choshev yid. A yid was a rov to a yeshiva. He was the choshev yid in ger. They were b'diavad kosher. The tefillin and the mezuzahs. Mamish, they were kosher, but mamish b'diavad. All the mezuzahs and the tefillin. He says, this shocked him, because he was wondering why the Rebbe says the word kedin. Very, very, and this, from then on, he became the Rebbe's chassid. He says, I'm not a Chabadnik, I'm the Rebbe's chassid. Then he tells me, he says, he was wondering why the Rebbe doesn't wear a shtreimel. He says, the Rebbe is such a Rebbe. He says, shtreimel, he's doch a Rosh Tevis. Shabbos is a Rosh Tevis, I mean. Shtreimel bimkoim tefillin. So such a Rebbe should wear a shtreimel. That's what happened. So this is a story I once shared with Rabbi Butman, and he said over the story, he heard the same story from him, from this person. I don't think he had the second letter, which I will share with you next week. But this is the story. Now I found here a few letters that the Rebbe wrote to somebody about, that he heard from Rabbi Butman. Rabbi Butman people wrote to the Rebbe. So here I have a letter. I mean, there's quite a few letters. It says here that the Rebbe wrote to somebody in English. This is to acknowledge receipt of your letter on January 6th. I have also just received the good news from Rabbi Shmuel Menachem Mendel Butman that the test proven negative. Because he wrote to the Rebbe about this person. May God grant that your daughter should have a complete and speedy recovery, and henceforth there should be only good news, healthy things to talk about. Then the Rebbe writes, I duly remembered your daughter in prayers when visiting the holy resting place of my father-in-law, saintly memory, whose yortzeit is the 10th of Shvat. And no doubt you know the story of his life and work. Perhaps you also heard that on arriving in the United States, he declared that he does not wish to have a copyright for his activities. On the contrary, that he would be very happy that others would emulate him in the spreading of Yiddishkeit, of Torah and true Yiddishkeit, especially in this country, where activities can be carried on without hindrance and without fear, but indeed with help and encouragement. And I will conclude, therefore, with the confident hope that you should not rest content with your own accomplishment in all above, but will use your fullest influence in this direction. Especially after I had the pleasure of meeting and talking with you, when it was also mentioned that our Torah is called Torah's Emes, a mitzvahs. Then the Rebbe signed this. Then the Rebbe writes a P.S. with reference to your desire for an appointment to see me. It would would certainly be a pleasure. But unfortunately, the appointments calendar is fully booked until after Pesach, and it would not be right to displace a previous appointment for which a person has been waiting inevitably too long. So, and then the Rebbe says you can talk it over with Rabbi Shmuel Butman. So we see that Rabbi Butman had a connection with the Rebbe. There's more letters that I have that the Rebbe answered people about Rabbi Butman. So since today is Leilu Nishmas Rabbi Butman, so I thought I would mention this. Now also the lesson from this letter, if we know it's a very important. I remember when it was the 67 war, in Eretz Yisrael, Yom Kippur War, people, Gedolim, Rebbes, relied on the Rebbe. What will the Rebbe say? In other words, even though they're not Chabad, and they're not Chassidim, but the Rebbe's Havort is very, very important. And this is, so right now, if we just learn that, we have an issue, we have a question, we can always think, what will the Rebbe say? So again, the Kitzu V'ranu Sheikh Neofer, Vu B'Seichom, and the Shabbat Chiz HaMesim, because of Mamash Shemitz next week, we'll continue our weekly program. Thank you.